So my name is Shmuel Pietrokowski, and I'm a professor of biology in the Weizmann Institute of Science in Israel. So our interest is in biology, in the conservation and change of biological systems, more specifically genes and proteins. And among our other research interests, we have a database called GeneCard. And it's actually not a database, it's a knowledge base, meaning that it has a lot of data that is organized in such a way that it will be knowledge. So we take the data from many different sources, hundreds of different other databases, and we organize it and cross-link it and annotate it. And so when somebody is interested in a specific human gene, one can look it up and see where is that gene, what is known about this gene, what is it similar to, where in the body is it expressed, what diseases are linked to this gene, with what other gene does it work. All of this is very important when we have questions like there is a disease, but we want to know what causes it. And we believe it's genetic, that is, it is made by some change or a mutation in a gene. But the problem is we don't know which gene. So what we do is we sequence. We take a sample, a small, very small sample from the person at hand, just rub it from his inner mouth, and we send it and we get the results. But the result is millions of bases long, sometimes billions of bases long, letters long. And we want to know what is the difference? What is the difference in this person that makes him sick? And we find thousands and sometimes millions of changes. And some of them are irrelevant because we are different from one another in a natural way. But inside this big haystack of changes, there are a few needles, perhaps even one needle, of a relevant change called the driver mutation. And we have a number of interesting tools and as I told you, databases that help us find these needles in a haystack. Among other things which I presented in the talk today was a research that we did that is also relevant to this. We asked the question, what is the difference between not sick people and healthy people, but between healthy people and healthy people, but different type of people, mainly men and women. So it might seem obvious, but men and women are different. We look different, we behave different, and we also have different diseases at different times. And it turns out that if you look at the genes, the 20,000 or 100,000 genes that we have, some of them are expressed differently between men and women. Some of the things are obvious. Some tissues are present in men, but not in women, and otherwise. And of course, there will be genes that are different in these tissues. But sometimes we have the same tissue, but different genes are expressed in it. We all have the same genes, but not everybody uses the same genes. So for example, the skin of men and the skin of women is different. And if you think about it, you know why is that? Because men have more hair than women on their body. Another thing that we found was interesting is that there are different glands, such as the liver or the thyroid, which are different. They have genes that are different. And the most mysterious and perhaps most interesting is that there is genes in the brain that are different between men and women. So for most of these cases, it's very difficult to know why is that. But we had one example which was very interesting. It is a gene that was expressed in one part of the heart, just one part of the heart, differently between men and women. And not all type of women, just young women. Young women had an elevated expression of that gene, while men, either young or old, they had almost no expression. And when the woman got older, around 60 years old, they also did not express well. And we believe that is because this gene affects heart disease. It controls the volume of the blood that goes into the heart, among other things. And it might be that the difference in expression of this gene is also related to the fact that younger women have much less heart disease than older women, and then men themselves. So this is a case where the data is turning to knowledge, and the knowledge helps us predict human health.